If you're running performance marketing at a startup or scale-up, especially with a big paid search budget, this episode of the Masters of Search is for you. My guest today is Bert Winterfeld, who is head of performance marketing at HEROsoftware, a super successful German B2B SaaS startup. They most recently raised a 40 million euro Series B in July 2024 to become the operating system of tradesmen across Europe. Bert works in online marketing since 2010, so he has seen the rise and shifts within the ecosystem firsthand. So I asked him to join the Masters of Search to pick his brain on all things paid search and performance marketing. But before we dive in, Bert, thanks so much for joining.
Hi, Niklas. Thanks for the invitation. Since 2010, that sounds like I'm really old, but then again, I'm over 40, and I was doing online marketing even before Facebook was a thing here in Europe. So let's do this. Happy to be here.
I think from what I saw about your work before the talk, I feel like you're still pretty much on the cutting edge.
I try to stay there, yes.
Nice. So maybe to give listeners or viewers a better understanding about your role, can you describe a little bit how your role at a head of performance marketing at HEROsoftware looks like?
So it's a bit like a middle management role, I'd say. So I'm reporting, of course, to director marketing and to the C-level, and then I have my team. So we have 4 people in my team. It's a small team. We try not to bloat up the team. A lot of people. So yeah, I'm in kind of sandwich position to try to manage the expectations of the C-level and trying to spend the budget in the most efficient way, and also try to, of course, motivate my people. And a very important part of my role, which I didn't really plan, but it's just what it is in B2B SaaS, is trying to chase the sales folks. Yeah, so you have to, of course, marketing and sales, they're always like companions and they have to run together. But my role especially, it looks a lot like, okay, what is happening to our leads that performance marketing is doing, is bringing in the demand capture and the demand gen channels.
Yeah. Super interesting. Since you already mentioned the team, can you take us a little bit behind the scenes of how you structured your team? Like which roles do you have and which responsibilities do people have in the team?
Yeah, of course. So we have only one person for paid search. That's a senior position for paid search. Maybe I have to say beforehand that we are focusing on Germany right now. We have some go-to-market motions in France and the Netherlands. So it's not pure German, but I would say also if you take the time we spend on the account or the budget, it's 90% Germany. So because that's where we want to, that's our home turf, and we want to gain market shares. So I have only one person for paid search, and this one person is a senior role. He is very experienced, 7 years in Google Ads, Bing Ads, YouTube. He has seen everything, display, whatever is out there. Paid search, that's the role of my paid search manager. Then I have one paid social manager. That's a woman. She's also senior position, and she's taking care of our new, actually I have a new channel. It's Meta Ads. So we tried out Meta Ads in the past, didn't work out well. And then when I come to it later, because paid search was under pressure, we try to open up new channels. So then we hired one person for paid social, and she's also doing a bit of data management and reports for the sales team. And then I have a third person, and he's the Swiss Army knife, a bit of, not like the classical performance marketing manager, but he takes care of all the affiliate platforms or comparison platforms. When you search for craftsmen software, there are also comparison sites. So we want to make sure that we are found there, that we rank highly if we can. Of course, that's always not on our side, but he also tries to generate reviews from existing customers to get 5 out of 5 stars, because that's a certain ranking logic on these pages. And he's also running our referral program. So for example, when you are an existing customer and you want to recommend Hero to a friend, you can get up to 300 euro for a successful referrer. That's also his role. So it's a mix. 2 specialists for 2 specific channels, and one Swiss Army knife with a working student who's doing a bit everything in between. And then that's me trying to juggling everything.
Yeah, let's get a little bit more into that juggling. How does your day-to-day look like? Do you spend most time in dashboards, accounts, meetings, or in the coffee shop next to the office?
I'd say I start my day always with a coffee on my couch. So I work from home, I'd say 3 days a week and 2 days a week in the office in Berlin. So actually Hero is from Hanover, but there's also a Berlin office. And yes, when I start my day, it's always a coffee, project management, and checking the accounts or more the dashboards. So I don't really look into the Google account on a daily basis because I have a senior person on this, so I know it's running. But of course, I check the number of leads. I check what's happening to these leads. How do they progress into the journey, into the sales team, and so on. So that's a big part. And then, of course, it's a lot of meetings. Yeah, it's a management role that comes with the role, so it's a bit less operational, more organizational, I'd say. So yes, to answer your questions, not in the accounts a lot, but in the dashboards, which then leads to questions for the accounts, basically.
Okay, great. I said in the intro that you're already in online marketing since 2010. In your role at Hero Software, you are like about a year or a little bit more than a year. Can you take us a little bit with you through that time? Have there been any important or interesting milestones during your first year in your role at Hero?
Actually, next week is my first anniversary. So I
Congrats.
started I started 1st of October 2024. So that's for a year. Yes, what was a big milestone actually when I came here, the tracking was a bit, and I would say it was not messed up. So Hero was always able to track things, but we could do things better. So for example, I took Google Analytics 4 to a whole new level. We set up like server-side tracking. We have Salesforce in the background where all the leads are coming in. So also we had to set up some Salesforce logic, some reports. So I'm close with the revenue operations team. They are running Salesforce. And a big milestone, I would say, if you know B2B SaaS, you have different lead stages mostly, right? You have like a raw lead. In our case, it's called unconfirmed lead. Then they click on the email. They say, okay, I want to really have a test account. That's a confirmed lead. And then they progress until the sales team calls them. It's qualified for sales lead. And then it's a demo. And then it's an opportunity whatsoever. And what we were not really good at is to know the value of these stages. And it's always a bit tricky, right? So when it comes to e-commerce, you have like, of course, the price of the product, and the margin, whatever, you can work with this. In sales, in B2B SaaS, you don't really have this. So what we had was like very static conversion values. So we said like a demo is worth like, I don't know, 500 euro, while a raw lead is only worth 50 euro, whatever. And we are trying to optimize with this. Yeah, but you had the tendency, or Hero had the tendency then to overspend or to overvalue the actual stages. Yeah, leading Google to spend way too much money because they think, oh, they are doing so much return on ad spend because the values are so high. So what we did now with success, doing like kind of dynamic conversion values. That was a big, so for all the paid search geeks in the audience, or the tracking geeks. So basically when you, let's say you type in a keyword, it's craftsmen software, you click on our ad, you land on our website, and there's a form on a typical test sign up form for a test account. So we also ask like what kind of industry or branch are you in, like electrician, plumber, roofer, photovoltaic, whatsoever. They're like 26 industry or so. And we ask you for the number of employees, so the size. Yeah. And then of course we have a database of existing customers where we can say, okay, that's like an electrician. They use like this and that feature mostly. Yeah. And you can say, okay, the company is between 2 and 5 craftsmen or tradesmen. Then you know, like when you price on the number of licenses, you know what kind of monthly recurring revenue is likely to come in. Yeah. So then you can automatically put a conversion value behind this, right? You can say, okay, there was a roofer, only 2 people. Then a demo held by the sales team is worth like 200 euros, let's say. I'm not saying the real numbers, but you get an idea. And if you have like a photovoltaic, which is our ICP, our core customer profile, for example, photovoltaic company, they put like these solar panels on the roofs, and they have 20 installation guys, right? Then you can automatically say, okay, that's very likely to be a much higher monthly recurring revenue. So you give this dynamic value back to Google and say, okay, this was a valuable customer, try to find more. Because of course, in paid search, we have always difficulties to target the real ICPs, right? Because nobody or very few people type in software for electricians. Yeah, they still search for software for craftsmen. Yeah, and then they want to compare different vendors. So it's very difficult to target them. But at least with this form and this kind of information, you can try to give Google Ads and Bing Ads an idea what a valuable lead looks like. Yeah. And the next step would be, of course, having the sales team calling them very fast and actually confirming the value we have like in this automation. Yeah. And to confirm the value and say, okay, this opportunity now has a value of, I don't know, X thousand euro of ARR or MRR. And then you give this dynamically back to Google, which will be the next step. Thing is here, of course, you cannot take very long sales cycle for this. So you must have the information quite fast to give it back to Google. Otherwise, Google does not allow you to re-upload this conversion value. So that's a basic milestone to summarize this from very static conversion values to more of a dynamic approach to train the AI of Google to see what actually could be a valuable lead for us.
I think it's a great tactic or a great strategy, not necessarily a tactic, but it involves a lot of operational knowledge. Can you quantify the impact in any way? Like how have the numbers changed after you successfully implemented this whole like very strong offline conversion tracking setup?
Quantify it would be like in the 2-digit % of cost reduction, I would say, because you are spending less money than on guessing and on leads that are not that valuable. So you try to say, okay, this is what a lead is worth. Try to give me as many leads for this value. So I would say we are not making much more leads because it's not like we are scaling up a campaign, but we're trying to be more efficient. And that's also a very important lesson I learned in paid search. And I would even say this provocative thought here, because the podcast is called Masters of Search, I would say there are no masters of search. There are like craftsmen of search, right? So it's like our ICP, our clients, which are craftsmen, they're never done. You can be a master, great, but you always have to. If someone in the audience owns a house, you know there's always something to do. That's also in paid search and in performance marketing in general. So there is no hack. I can't give you a Google hack or like this magic trick. So what's the saying? They would say we are all putting our pants on the same way, or the German equivalent would be we're all cooking with water, like this, yeah. So there is no magic trick. So you have these conversion values and other AI analysis and stuff that's coming up right now. It will make you more efficient, but I cannot go to the C-level and say, with this trick, next week, I will bring you 200 more leads, valuable leads. That's not going to happen, especially in B2B, where the keyword volume is typically low and very expensive. So it's not e-commerce. It's not something where you have like millions of searches every week. So also to ask maybe your later question, paid search and scaling, it's really difficult.
Let's save that for now and let's tap into that later, because I mean it's a pretty sophisticated setup you've built up there, and I mean 2-digit cost reduction is still very great. I think a lot of people in the audience listening to this that are running like at least 5-digit, maybe medium 5-digit or 6-digit budgets a month, they would really appreciate a double-digit cost reduction. Is there anything else you have implemented successfully to improve lead quality at the same level of costs, or like while scaling, so to say?
Yeah, in paid search, it's a bit difficult. So what we actually did, successfully ramp up the channel paid social, because you see, when you have like these typical campaigns in paid search, like our, let's say, the top non-brand keyword campaigns, it's expensive and only a few people per month are using it or searching it. So there's no real way to scale it. So what's your real way to scale it is branding. Not even demand gen, because there is a demand for software and craftsmen. Craftsmen are actually pretty tech savvy and pretty digitally aware, I would say. So we are not really competing against pen and paper, but we are competing against Microsoft Word, Excel, Outlook, all these digital tools. So there is a demand, and people are aware of their software for craftsmen. So it's not like a whole new product that you have to generate demand in that case, but you have to scale up the branding. So when my paid social works, then my paid search brand campaign works even better. And because more people are searching for hero software. That's the case. So what we did now, we found a way to scale paid social from just a couple of leads a month to a couple of hundred leads a month, which is like a huge increase. That's very nice. And we see the spill over to the other channels, especially the brand campaign and paid search. And what also is a nice way at least in our industry, is to use the PMax shopping campaign, where we like fake, like we have a software CD, and we have it in the shopping ads. Because the thing is, but that's industry specific, but craftsmen are pretty used to old school on-premise software. So they really had this, they bought like CDs, CD-ROM, and then they installed the program on their laptop or on their PC, and then they worked from there. So like having the cloud and always in the browser software, cloud-based, that's not so common. So people are still searching for program for craftsmen. And by program I mean like a CD. Yeah, and then you show up and you fake like a little e-commerce product, and then you get a lot of leads actually, right? So my take would be, or also for the audience, try to learn as much as you can from e-commerce, even if you're in B2B SaaS, because if you mastered e-commerce with all these Amazon.com and all this vendors and internet pages, if you master this and still make a good business, I bow to you. You're the master of marketing, I'd say. So e-commerce is like the Champions League of marketing, and whatever you can learn from them, be it tracking, be it conversion values. Also in conversion values, try to be as close to e-commerce as possible. Try to give like the card, the added card value. Try to give it back to Google and to all the AIs. And yeah, try to use Google Shopping campaigns for your B2B SaaS product. Just try it, and it works.
I love the analogy. I also saw your shopping ad, and you did this mock-up, which looks like a cardboard, like the typical cardboard packages where you have like the DVD or CD in. Would you say, because I feel like this is something that some B2B SaaS companies already do. So I think I also saw Safdesk doing it. So for everybody in the audience that does not know Safdesk, it's I would say, pretty successful German like invoicing accounting software, especially targeting solopreneurs or like small, medium-sized, so rather on the small side of businesses. I saw them doing it. I saw Lexware or Lexware Office, LexOffice doing it. But would you say, like, did you already see a competitor of yours copying that strategy?
Well, I don't look so much at competitors, to be honest. I think I didn't see it yet. I mean, we have like 2 competitors in Germany that are really close to our product, and then even LexOffice is like a competitor. Yeah, because we want to be like the operating system for craftsmen. Of course, you compete with 1 or 2 that are close to Hero, but you're competing against 300 of software vendors that have specific stuff for HR, for finance, sending out offers, getting invoices. So that's a lot. And I'm sure they are doing these Google Shopping campaigns. For the direct competition, I haven't seen it, but of course, when we are doing it, they will notice at some point. It's no secret, right? So it's not like we're doing something magical behind a curtain that nobody sees. So I'm sure they will also try it.
Yeah, it's something where I think there's the saying, it's hidden in plain sight, right? So if they look carefully, they will notice it, but they might not necessarily look. But let's talk about the competitors real quick, because you said I don't look, or you said something like I don't look too much at competitors, and I find this interesting because I did an interview here in this podcast with Margus Weber, who is head of web at Pipedrive. And I think I would say Pipedrive generally also relatively successful company. And he said the same. But still, when I talk, especially to, I would say, rather early stage founders or marketing executives there, I feel like it's the complete opposite. So they're looking a lot of competitors, they're comparing a lot. Please just give me a little bit of your thoughts on that. Why not looking too much at competitors? Or what differentiates you from like and I don't want to blame them, but what is the key difference maybe in your mindset to these early stage founders I talked to?
Yeah, I had my startups too back in the days, even earlier. So I was a founder too at a little agency. I tried to have a software business, and I was really obsessed with competitors. You know, you have the similar web, you have SEMrush, you have all these SEO tools, and you try to find out who is ranking better, who is doing better paid search, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is your product really comparable? Usually you have like some kind of tweak and function and feature that others don't have, and try to focus on this and try to focus on getting this out to your ICPs. Yeah, so I mean, what should I in Google Ads? Of course, I can see my keyword set, and I can see who else is in the auction for this keyword set. I see my competitors. I see my impression share. I can see, am I more visible or not? But what really does this information do for me? What value has it? So for me, the value is how expensive is a lead, and how is this lead progressing through the funnel? And that's totally on my own metrics and on my own sales team and my own assets, like display ads, whatever, paid social ads. The competition cannot help me. I can sometimes look at them. So I do it in paid social. You have this ad library, right? You just type in the competitor name, and you look at this and say, okay, they have a new campaign running for this. Yeah, they have a special offer. Does it make sense to have something similar, or they have these? Lately I saw an ad which we don't use. They use like some kind of they give a bonus when you switch your current software to their product. Yeah, like an exchange. So you get a couple of hundred of euros if you abolish your old software and buy their software. Yeah, that's not a USP in the software. That's just like trying to get this greedy people who like to have money for software change. Try to get them, but I don't really think the approach works for us, because usually when I see craftsmen, they don't even our referral program, they don't really care for the money I could give them. So it's just like they don't want to bother with this. A craftsman is out there on the construction site. He is doing this and that, and like killing his own software and buying a new software where he get rewarded one time. So I don't feel it. I see it for the competitors, but I don't copy it. I try to check, okay, what makes my software unique or my solution, and how can I market this to my ICPs? And so in Google Ads, I mean, this game is done. Yeah, everybody knows the keywords. Yeah, and they're not really evolving that much. You try to. It's more like you add more negative keywords every day than you add new keywords to your campaigns. Definitely. So you try to make it even smaller. You try to limit your reach, except for PMAX. So yeah, I never gained real value from looking at the competition, because they're doing their thing. They have different products, different approaches, maybe different ICPs. So try to make the competition look at you and not the other way around, basically.
That's a good one. There's also this saying, right? Copying is the sincerest form of flattery or something, where basically if someone copies you, you know they really admire you. I like that one. You already talked a lot about ICP. And I think there are a lot of people out there that have a hard time to really understand their customers in detail. So really know what their day-to-day looks like, what their frustrations are, what are like the key messages you need to play as a marketer independent of the channel, be it search or be it social. But what do you do to be close to your audience, to really understand them, to have a grasp on the messaging that works the best? Because I feel like you know a lot about craftsmen. I'm just wondering, how do you know it?
Well, first, my father is a craftsman, a plumber. So I'm from this kind of from a family. So blue collar worker is my background. So I was the first to study in my family. So I know this background and how to talk to these people. Yeah, they also, for example, you can try LinkedIn, but I will tell you it will not work on craftsmen. Sorry, because my father, he has his tablet. He doesn't give a damn about LinkedIn, of course, right? So you need to have other channels. But for being close to your ICP, I mean, as a founder, it's quite difficult. You might really have some interviews with people. Of course, I came into this company, Hero Software, that was quite established already, quite a very good brand in the German market. So, of course, the first thing you do, you talk to customer experience team, and you let them show you the tickets, the most frequently asked questions, like what's the pain point, also what's missing, what feature is missing. So that's like one idea for product and product marketing, but also what is their pain, and also what are they thankful for. So right, we have reviews and we ask customers to give us a review and give us honest feedback, and they tell us, oh, this feature, it saved me so much time. Yeah, I mean, we are not making craftsmen better, but we are giving them more time to do their craft and spend less time on the weekend to write invoices and stuff. So that's your first pool of ideas, how to market to your ICP, because you know the industry, you know it's a roofer, you know it's a photovoltaic guy, electrician, a plumber, whatever. And the second thing is that I really recommend, and I do this, I must do it more often. I have to admit, I do this maybe once a month, but I should do it often. Be part of software demos. Yeah, just ask the sales team, hey, can I go into the software demo? And then you do it for all different industries, for roofers and plumbers. And then you have, of course, you have to be silent because the sales guy or girl is usually very good at his or her job, but you can listen and learn. Yeah, and they tell you which competitors are in their scope. Yeah, so they know, oh yeah, I looked at this and I looked at that, and now I'm having a software demo with you. So of course you lose the naive thought that you are like the exclusive vendor and they only come to you. They have spoken to everybody and they are comparing features, and you can learn from this, and you can learn from what are the pain points with pricing for user licenses, for example, and you get a very good idea what people need. Yeah, and that's not a one-time project. I have the task in my project management tool that says I do 4 sales demos every month. So at least once a week, go into the call, just listen to the craftsman. Yeah, so that's really what I can recommend, because otherwise they will not type this into forums, then they will not really type this into Google, so that you can actually try to get a grasp of what they need from automatic tools. Yeah, that's not and now we have LLMs and ChatGPT. It's even worse, gets more complicated, but talk to the real people.
I find it very interesting because a lot of people I see on LinkedIn, and it's basically the same type of people that are sharing the N8N workflows where you have to comment N8N and you get a dysfunctional template workflow. But there are also a lot of people that say, hey, yeah, AI made audience research obsolete. And I feel like this is probably one of the last things that you should not do yourself anymore, right? Because they say you can go to Perplexity and just type in, for your example, for Hero, it would be craftsmen, frustrations, pain points, and then you limit the search to Reddit or to something like that. And I feel like this is really not how it works, right?
It's a lazy way to. So first of all, you give your control away and you trust like an LLM that you don't understand. Like, where's the information coming from? Is it hallucinating? Still in Google, you find a lot of weird sources, and LLMs is the same. And I feel like LLMs, we are bringing back the old gray hat and black hat SEO times, where people try to get like paid guest articles everywhere to train the LLMs on this. So I don't really trust those. So always trust your own gut feeling and your own experience. Talking to the customer cannot be substituted by asking Perplexity. It's a lazy way. I think it's these, and I like this. I'm in this LinkedIn bubble too. We have this career-driven view and the social network LinkedIn, but a lot of stuff there is bullshit. It's really like, oh, I can get you rich, quick, and easy. Just comment on this post and underneath this post, and I will send you the newest hack, and then you will understand your customers. It's always, I try to report these posts and say, disconnect to the people. Actually, I'm really, in the last year, I would say I disconnected to more people than I connected to new people, because there was a lot of this AI bullshit bubble. Of course, everybody labels AI on their product. I mean, we have AI in the background, yeah, but we don't label it as AI. We say, hey, it's hero automation. It saves you more time because your processes, they are set up once and the processes are running automatically, and it saves you a lot of time. But we're not telling you it's your new AI voice assistant, yeah, which is not even a cool feature. Instead of typing things, speaking things into the system and then checking if it's understood you correctly. So yeah, I think this AI bubble, it makes you more efficient, but it cannot really think for you, at least not for now.
Yeah, I did the same. Most recently disconnected a lot of people, and I encourage everybody that is frustrated with their LinkedIn experience. So I don't have any commercial interest in this, but do not leave the platform, but rather curate your feed better to see more from people you truly value or you find insightful. It will elevate the experience you have in this social network by far. So yeah. Speaking of AI, so AI in Hero, we learned we have AI in Google, but what about the AI in Bert? So how do you use LLMs, for example, in your daily workflows, in your role? Is there anything that you can share where you feel like, hey, this is actually something very helpful that I do for XYZ task?
So personally, of course, I even pay for ChatGPT privately because I like to ask ChatGPT. That's a very good way to actually gather information and also evaluate the information. That counts for private life. That counts also for my professional life. So for my private life, I bought a new motorcycle last week, and I had these ask ChatGPT. I feed like all these, classified ads where you can just buy a motorcycle. I feed this all to ChatGPT and say, do a comparison on features, on pricing, on mileage, and so on. Get a really great result, and I bought a new motorcycle. And for professional life, it's the same. It makes me more efficient with a lot of data that I cannot really analyze manually. So, for example, when I started at Hero, we went through keyword lists and say, okay, does this keyword make sense? But then the keyword is not really like search behavior, right? It's just like a glimpse of the actual search terms. And you go to the search term report and look at the words that actually showed your ads to. But AI is very handy when you can export the data from Google Ads. So let's say the PMAX campaign, right? Even in a B2B SaaS, it can run on 50,000 keywords a month. So you have to control it. Is there brand in there? Is there competition in there? Like what kind of keyword set? You have to understand it. And it would take a lot of time. So what we do is we export it in a Google Sheet, and then we feed it to our own. We have like a closed AI because, of course, we don't want to train models publicly with our own data, which is confident. So we have our own model, our own tool. But then I can say, okay, these are our competitors. Please look for different competitors. Are we actually bidding on their brand name when we don't want it because their product is quite different? So we know we are not attracting the right customer audience when we're bidding on their brand name. And the same goes for other different keywords, our own brand. So we try to keep PMAX away from our own brand. So we run our own brand campaign. So everything that has like Hero software in it. But of course, I want to have it excluded in the PMAX campaign because otherwise PMAX is going to, okay, give me as many leads as possible for a good price. So the PMAX campaign will go for your brand because that's the best lead for the best price, definitely. It's just like logical. So try to get these exports and get this evaluated by ChatGPT. So my job is not done by AI now, but it makes me, I think, 5 to 10 times faster, at least more efficient. I can spend more time on strategic thinking, on budget planning. Even with budget planning, AI can help, right? You can just feed in the data you had all these years, and then you think, okay, give me suggestions where I could distribute my budget better, but you still have to think for yourself. It's just a tool of efficiency.
Very nice. Also, like most recently, as I like to use Claude a lot professionally. I don't know. I think because it once had this little leap forward in terms of coding to ChatGPT, but now Claude introduced the capability to create Excel sheets for you actually. And I use another tool which is called Whisperflow, which allows me to talk to the computer much better than the integrated dictation feature in the Mac. And then I basically speak to Claude, and it creates an Excel sheet for me, and then I can export it to Google Sheet, and then I can work from there. It's like things that have that used to take 3 hours now maybe take 1, and you come to a significantly better result because you can brain dump more of the thing you have in your head.
Exactly, but still you have to be careful because we found mistakes in the exports or in the interpretation of the export. The export was quite straightforward. You have N8N and you pull it from there and put it there. We use Google Spreadsheet because that's our Google Suite, no Excel, but the same story. But then in the interpretation, it can be quite cheesy. So, and also sometimes it pulls the wrong data. It says, okay, you had these impressions on this keyword set and you had the clicks, but the costs are 0. When you say that can't be the case for a click. So yeah, you have to double check it. And so what we have at Hero is actually a person who's responsible for AI workflows in the whole company. And then in every department, we have an AI champion. So a person that's really, so for the marketing team, we have an AI champion, and he really goes to every marketing person. How can AI make your life easier? And then we have this AI architect that really tries to get it all together so that not everybody's using like 10 different tools, but also maybe one tool set, and that we learn from each other. And we have AI circles. That's a monthly call where we exchange knowledge. So we are doing it, and we see the impact it can have, right? But it's more like an efficiency tool and not like doing the job for you.
Interesting. We got to touch on at least 2 more topics. One topic you addressed almost initially was scaling, and that scaling in paid search is pretty complicated, or I don't know how you said it. Maybe you even said that it's very hard to do, or that it's almost impossible. So a lot of people might wonder, hey, Bert, but if you're doing paid social, there are also these formats like demand PMAX. You already touched on that. It obviously has a like all channel component in it, but then there's demand gen, and then there's YouTube campaigns. Can you share a little bit of your learnings from demand gen and from YouTube, and if you had success with them, and if not, why not?
We had success from them when we looked at the right metric. So Hero had a very lead gen driven approach. So there always has to be like a good cost per lead, a good number of leads on every channel, a good closing rate, a good ARR whatsoever. And that was like the North Star metric of the company. Yeah, but when you have like paid search, and you're especially in one market, you could scale through internationalization. That's still the case. But if you are in one market and the keyword set is around B2B SaaS, it's pretty niche. It's difficult to scale there, so you have to go into demand gen or branding, and of course you have to look into different metrics, right? So it's not like then it's not the number of leads, the number of MQLs. It's suddenly the reach. How many eyeballs did see my ad, or do I see the impact on my brand campaign or my organic brand search? Yeah, so we are focusing heavily on brand now, because you cannot scale the non-brand sector that much. So we are doing, for example, what we did this year in May and do next year again is a big event called the HEROcon, which takes place in the stadium of Borussia Dortmund, like a famous German football club. And our own goal is to be the online marketing rock stars for craftsmen, right? So do a lot of branding. And for paid social, Of course, we have a mix. We have some lead gen, some campaigns that are really saying, okay, save time because everything is running automatically. It's the best software for plumbers whatsoever to really measure the lead gen or to really generate leads. But we also have brand campaigns in it that help us. It's hard to track, but for example, we have this testimonial or the face of Niklas Füllkrug. Yeah, like a famous footballer. He's not the most famous anymore. Yeah, there Florian Wirtz would be better maybe. But when we signed Niklas Füllkrug, he was still playing for Dortmund, so which means yellow and black were the colors, which are also our colors. Blah blah blah. So of course we had a video shooting with Niklas Füllkrug, and we play this in all the channels, also in paid social, to really get the name Hero Software out there and to really get our message done, like spend more time doing what you love or what you can, like being a craftsman and actually building stuff, and don't spend time on this whole back office thing that actually distracts you. So then if you take the reach into account, we were successful. Yeah, but of course it's not the lead impact right away. So it's also like a time, it's a delay in there. Yeah, so you have this Niklas Füllkrug campaign, you have other maybe display campaigns, and then you might see a raise in brand search at some point or into other channels. But it's really, it's more like we're going back to the old funnel approach, branding awareness, and then this lead gen or demand capture on the lower funnel. Yeah, but it still works, and you have to do both basically. So like a summary for all you out there, scaling works to a specific level, but it will never be like it's exponentially, because that's not the case, because also the search volume is not growing like this. So if you have a startup or you start, you maybe call it scaling a bit because it's always going up for maybe even a year or more, but at some point you will hit like the ceiling, a plateau. And then you have to do like all the other channels and demand gen and branding to actually get the most out of your channel.
I can imagine people in the audience thinking, how did the head of performance marketing get management buy-in for branding? Because I mean, probably you have been judged and you are still judged by a set of numbers, KPIs, pretty data-driven. I can imagine also Hero from everything you just shared, being pretty data-driven in all aspects. Can you share like how did this conversation look like? So did you just say, hey, look, we hit a ceiling and we have to do something else? Or did you do like a sophisticated forecast, branding, brand formance, modeling? How did it go?
Now, actually, the whole development with AI helped me with this, because we saw that paid search is coming under pressure. Yeah, you can see in analytics, you can see like ChatGPT referrals on the rise. It might be still a small number, but it's growing and it can grow even more. So you have to say, okay, paid search, these like 10 blue links with some ads above it, it's not the future. We have to do the hard work, the baseline. We have to optimize every day. But if you would like, let's say you cut off all the non-brand performance ads, just because it's expensive. I pay maybe 12 euro per click in some campaigns. It's really expensive. Turn this off, and you will also see brand coming down a couple of weeks later. And the other way around, it's the same. Try to turn brand off. So there was a theory. I can tell you this story. There was a theory last year that we said, either C-level said, okay, why are we doing a brand campaign in paid search? It should all be organic then, right? If somebody is searching for Hero software, let's not put an ad on there. Let's not waste our money, because they will click on our organic ranking or organic position anyways, organic result. That was the hypothesis. And we reduced the brand budget by 60%. Like really, okay, for 1 month, it was like summer month, so not the biggest impact, not the most relevant quarter in the year. We did this with a theory, okay, organic search will catch up everything. Guess what? No, it didn't work. So we said, yeah, we are making now less leads with the brand campaign, but SEO brand doesn't make more leads, because SEO brand is hard to measure, but when you know from which landing page the lead came, then you know, okay, for which keyword is this page ranking for? Homepage, of course, for brand. So it didn't really get the leads we lost in brand paid search. So I said, you see, brand paid search? No, because the competitors will book the ads on our brand, and they will get the click then, and maybe they get the lead then. So our organic search result, not going to happen. When with all these knowledge panels and what you have, it's get pushed even more into the lower part of your viewport and stuff. So we said, okay, we need to have brand. Then I could say as an argument, look, the search volume is not really scaling. I can try to have the most impression share, but it's not scaling. So I have to do paid social. I have to also do lead gen on paid social, but also brand on paid social. Yeah. And then we had this big event, the HEROcon this year, with like 700 craftsmen coming there and a lot of influencers, like craftsmen who are actually on Instagram, on TikTok, and so on. And guess what? The brand search was increasing. Yeah. So again, and then you get leads from this brand search. Yeah, they might have seen you on the HEROcon or some exhibition whatsoever, but the demand is captured by the brand campaign and paid search. So you see your leads going up there because people remember you, and then they search for Hero software and you click on your ad and they do a test account. So that was pretty easy to say, okay, paid search, especially for non-brand, will go down. We have to go even more into PMAX and more into display, more into demand gen, more into brand. And that was pretty much the case. And then I got a specific brand budget because it's all linked together. Yeah, you cannot really cut down one channel that you find pretty expensive and expect not to hit the other channels. Yeah, and what we are doing next, we also will ask. We're doing it already. We'll ask the leads where they actually heard from us the first time, right? Because the brand or paid search might capture the demand. So people are searching for Hero software, click on the brand ad, they do they sign up for a test account. But that's of course not the real deal because they have to be aware of Hero from somewhere else. So yes, we know demand capture is paid search brand, but what's the actual channel they heard of us the first time? Was it word of mouth on the construction side by some other craftsmen? Was it an exhibition, HEROcon, organic social, whatsoever? And then you get actually a good idea what really works. Then it tells you also not to switch off the brand paid search campaign, which was an idea, but it didn't work out.
Awesome. Do you use any specific tech stack to bring together this? How do you know about us? So self-reported attribution, insights, and then the whatever cookie-based like last click attribution insights, or do you have just your own triangulation sheets you work with? How do you handle this data?
It's all in Salesforce, all in CRM. So basically, what the website does, of course, it sends all the campaign information from UTM parameters into a cookie and to Salesforce when the lead is submitted. So you have this last click is very easy. It's like pure web tech. And then the sales team, of course, they have to be trained, or they are trained to really ask this question and fill it out. Yeah. We're also thinking about having this in the onboarding in the software, of course. So because in the lead form on the website, you cannot ask everything. Like, for example, invoice address and something like this. That would be too much. It would be a conversion breaker. So once you log into the software in your test account for the first time, there's like an onboarding module that asks you more questions. Okay, what kind of projects do you want to have, and so on, so on. And also there you can have like, where have you seen us first? Like as a free text field or as a drop down when you want to do like some channel grouping, let's say internet, TV, radio ad, or whatever. You can have like a collection, or because a free text field, people are too lazy to fill this out. So in the software, we try to give them like a little collection, a drop down menu, drop down selection, and then still the sales team has to ask them on the phone, like, where do you really heard from us? Maybe they even go a bit deeper. They say, oh, it was Facebook. And then if you think that that guy is maybe digitally savvy, you can ask them, do you know if it was an ad or on our fan page, or like try to get even more data into it. And then the sales team has to put it in Salesforce. And then where it's all come together, like self-attribution, self-report attribution, and also this normal last click.
And how do you act on that data? Because I can imagine, like, when I talk to people about self-reported attribution, they generally get the why, but they have a hard time to figure out the how. So not the how in terms of capturing the data, but so let's say you have like 100 leads, and then you have like a variety of different campaigns from paid search and paid social that are like in your last click attribution data, but then like your self-reported attribution tells you something like Niklas Füllkrug, or tells you HEROcon, or tells you this. And I can imagine that people say, yeah, but I mean, if now 3 people say they heard about me from whatever branding thing that we do, is this enough to get like the management buy-in to get more branding budget? Or how do I act on these insights? What is like a significant amount of data to make confident decisions on?
You would need a lot of data. I would say let this program or this reports run for a couple of months. But when you do like, I don't know, 4-digit leads per month, yeah, which is totally realistic for B2B SaaS. So I have like 1,000 or 2,000 leads every month. And then the sales team talk to a lot of people and they all tell you where they heard you or heard the first time from you. It gives you a pretty good idea. You can at least say, okay, they all said, I mean, they will not tell you the ad and what was in the ad, nobody can remember, but they said, okay, I saw Niklas Füllkrug, I saw the ad for the HEROcon exhibition, or I saw you on Facebook. At least it gives you a glimpse, okay, could be organic, could be paid, but then of course the reach is different, right? So paid is way more reach than organically, of course. And then you can see, you get a gut feeling how important brand is. But you cannot do like, okay, they all answered, they saw my Instagram ad, we will push way more budget to the Instagram ad. That's not going to work. Yeah, but at least like which channel out there is going well.
Interesting. I feel like you're executing a lot of things on a really high level and also in a very close loop between strategy and operation. There was already a lot of insight in it. And what would you say, what's maybe one strategy or one operational tactic where you feel like that others would find it the most surprising? So something maybe unconventional, something unusual.
Unconventional tactic that others would find surprising.
Maybe I can give you one. I feel like
Yeah.
doing this HEROcon, this is still something rather uncommon and still so surprising, because getting together 700 people from your ICP, so I guess most of them are more or less, you qualify them in any way, I suppose. This is something where most people would say, hey man, this probably costs like, I don't know, mid 5-digit, maybe even more, I don't know, 700 people. Yeah, so is it really worth? So this is something where I feel like maybe we will see more cool events in the future coming from different B2B SaaS players who say, hey, HEROcon, this looks great. And if Bert tells me it works for them, I should maybe try too.
So if we ask our CFO if it was like getting a return on ad spend or on the budget, return on invest, he would say, of course, no, because it's not really even measurable. Yeah. But the thing is, so first of all, an event gives you a lot of content for your channels. You can be there, it's your own event, you can film the people, you can have speakers, even craftsmen, they like to speak. Yeah, some are really good on stage. You get a lot of content for your other channels, right? You get a lot of buzz in the industry, because there are not really many events for craftsmen on this scale. Of course, there are like little exhibitions for every industry, yeah, for every little roofer or whatsoever, but not on the big scale. So you get buzz in from the industry, you get trust, you get the influencers to be there, because hey, which influencer doesn't want to be on stage on the online marketing rockstars, for example, if you work in online marketing? Compare this to the craftsman, bam, you have the HEROcon. So I would definitely tell everybody, don't underestimate your brand. It's worth the budget, it's worth the effort, it's a lot of work. Yeah, but when you start a company, you surf the non-brand wave for a bit. You might scale, but there is no secret hack, right? Also, get good Google reviews or reviews from your customers. Manage to get a big brand to be like, it's the buzzword, like the first in mindset whatsoever. Yeah. So
Top
when
of mind.
top of mind was the word, exactly. So when somebody thinking of software for craftsmen, they have to think of Hero, do the merchandise correctly, right? Send it to everybody. So it's really, really important. And yeah, but Hero had to go a long way to come to this conclusion, or even now does this, because the HEROcon was the first time this year. Never did it before, but it was a huge success. We will do it again, and we came from this. Now it has to be payback time has to be good. So the lead gen must be cost efficient. So we have to close the deal as high as possible. Measure every channel by payback time. Yeah, but to get to a certain plateau where it works, and then suddenly it doesn't work anymore. It gets more expensive. Our biggest competitor has also now an investment round, basically the same amount we did. What will be the impact? Most likely, some keywords will be more expensive, and we will fight for the attention of the craftsmen out there. So it will get more expensive. So again, you must be the more trusted brand here.
Hmm. And if this comes from a head of performance marketing, it really means a lot. And I think also especially if you did something for the first time in an industry, so every other company will be at max the second. So the HEROcon was first, even if the others will launch their own event, you probably have like a first mover advantage. And especially if you already had 700 people and you have all this, I think it's a great insight, especially if we're talking about creatives also using the material you were able to produce on the event for like ads or organic content, etc.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and even if you have like these very feature focused ads, like, okay, do your invoices with Hero, which is not very, very sexy, not very branded, even the click rates might go up because people have seen you on other channels before, and they know you from the HEROcon, they know you from, I don't know, we even have a specific role for PR, where you would say, okay, PR for craftsmen, well, are they really using it, or is it really worth it? But yeah, you cannot really measure it like down to the last click in your performance ads. But I can tell you, a good brand, a trusted brand, and a happy customer base will help all your performance marketing channels, no matter what. So it's like daily optimization. There's no quick way, no shortcut, no magic trick. You do the operations, but try to also build up a brand team, because that will help you great deal.
Awesome. We already talked, I think it's almost an hour. Time has really flown. It was super insightful. I really enjoyed it a lot. What I like to do to wrap up the conversation, what I like to do with basically all my guests is borrow their brain one last time to look into the future and to help me. And so it's a very selfish motivation I have here to anticipate the future better. So I'd like to ask you, how do you see the paid search landscape changing in the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years?
I would even argue that you can never look into the 5-year future, because look at how AI is changing the world so fast. So I would even be happy to make a 1-year forecast. So I tell you what will not happen. Maybe let's start it this way. I think Google will not die because of ChatGPT and all the other LLMs. And so people will still use Google, and Google has still a lot of data, a lot of reach, a lot of market share, and they know their revenue is at risk from paid ads. Well, that's where they make the most money. But they are clever. They will find ways. Maybe you have ads in LLMs in the future or whatsoever. So I think the industry landscape or paid search will not change so much that you don't need it anymore. I think you will have to master AI tools in the future to actually know what your campaigns are doing, because I feel like we spent 10 years to get away from these broad match keywords where like every search term is in there, and you want to do it like, no, narrow it down to exact and phrase match. And now you have like these AI max features in the PMax campaign, which says again, let the AI do all the work, which means you give away all your control. Yeah. So for the next 3 years, yeah, get familiar with the AI tools and try to understand what the AI of Google is doing. If you give them the landing page and they're scanning the landing page and create their own ad text of it, yeah, try to really monitor this closely. Is this in line with your brand? Is this in line with what you want to say? Does the AI interpret your landing page correctly? So I would say, give you one tip, spend a whole day per week with learning about tools and experimenting, not just reading about it on LinkedIn and not commenting to get the latest hack, but really install Cursor and MCP server and N8N and try to figure out how it works.
Nice. It makes a whole lot of sense. Bert, it was awesome. Really insightful. I really enjoyed it. If people feel the same and they want to learn more about what you're doing with Hero, or about experiments you're running, whatever, how can they follow you the best?
On LinkedIn, I'd say. So in contrast to the craftsman, I am on LinkedIn. I would say, a bit active, a passive consumer. I would say I don't post that many stuff, but just like search Bert Winterfeld on LinkedIn and let's connect. Check out our website if you want to pursue a career in marketing or sales or engineering in a B2B SaaS company that is growing. Actually, we went from 100 to 200 people in 1 year. So check out hero-software.de and connect on LinkedIn. That's it.
Awesome. Bert, thanks so much for doing that. Hope to speak soon and see you around here in Berlin. And until then, all the best and a lot of success with Hero. I think you're doing a great job, and I really learned a lot today.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye. Speak soon.
Bye.